wait for this next one. So this is Edelman's Trust Barometer, and the title of this really was The Danger of Insular Trust Mindset. Now, the Edelman Trust Report came out a few weeks ago. I caught up on my reading on the plane at the weekend, so I had a bit of time to read through the report. And I saw a lot of articles on LinkedIn flying around about it all, but I wanted to read the report before getting into other people's opinions. So it's the Trust Report, or Barometer, however you want to call it. They call it a barometer. It's in its 26th year. It's an annual survey, and this year it included 28 countries, nearly 34,000 respondents, and that's around 1,200 respondents per country. I'm not going to lie, that felt quite small to me in consideration to what I thought it was in terms of representation of the world, but I'll park that. So the theme of the report this year is trust and the crisis of grievance. The report shows 3 layers at the beginning. It talks about polarisation, the belief that our country is divided and those divisions are entrenched, then grievance, resentment toward a system that's rigged against you, and then insularity, this reluctance to trust anyone who's different from you. I should say at this point that the Trust Report is looking at trust as a whole. It's not just looking at it in organisations. This is the world, essentially. But they talk about having an insular trust mindset. And the stats in the report include that 70% are hesitant or unwilling to trust someone who is different from me. 42% would rather switch departments than report to a manager with different values than me. So that's workplace conflict. 34% said they would put less effort into helping their project leader succeed if they have different political beliefs than me. And those with an insular trust mindset trust their CEO and their neighbours, but do not trust CEOs generally, journalists or government leaders. The insular mindset means a sense of grievance is moderate or higher. The report goes on to talk about trust brokering. It explains that trust brokering is a set of practices and behaviours that counter insularity by facilitating trust across difference. Rather than trying to change people, it surfaces the common interested or insulated parties and translates their needs, goals and realities for one another. A trust broker can be a person, organisation or institution trusted by each stakeholder group facing a common problem. Now, when I read this, my first take was, this is not new. I've just been re-listening to Patrick Lencioni's 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. A lot of this trust brokering is talked about in there. It's also talked about in the book Super Communicators by Charles Duhigg. If you haven't read that, there's an excellent case study in there about bringing together 2 different sides of the gun control argument and how you can navigate that. Anyway, Edelman go on to offer some effective strategies for the workplace. Those are their words. Their effective strategies are: promote a shared identity and culture so that employees are reminded of what unites rather than divides them. I feel like I've put on a voice now. Build teams that will require people with different values to work together to succeed. Provide mandatory employee training for engaging in constructive dialogue and conflict. Well, none of that feels new. It feels like something HR and comms have been grappling with for years. What are your thoughts?
Well, one, I think that voice you just described is like that generic voice you hear in like corporate mission values videos. Like that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Promote a shared identity and culture. Yes.
I used to, maybe for right reasons or wrong reasons, I don't know, when the Edelman Trust Barometer would come out, I would truly, not exaggerating, stop what I was doing, look at it, dig it apart, tear it apart, find nuggets in there. That stopped years ago. I haven't even read it. I didn't even look at it because, kind of to your point, this is nothing new. This is what we are all living every single day. If anything, this shows, one, we are all in our own bubbles out there. Mm-hmm. We need to acknowledge that. And some people don't want to get out of their bubble. Some people want to stay in that bubble. And I guess that's their choice. But I think the most haunting stat of all of them you shared was the very first one. 70% are hesitant or unwilling to trust someone who is different from me. Different can mean a lot of different things here, which I felt like they played it a little too safe with this. I want to know what different means to someone who answered, I'm hesitant. Is that based on where they're from, the color of their skin, their values, their beliefs? Different. Who is actually like you?
Yeah.
Who do you say is like you. Like that is such a dangerous statistic to me. I also saw myself on the opposite side of how some of these people voted, where we said 42% would rather switch departments, different values. Yeah, I would like to switch departments if their values don't align with mine. And 34% say would put less effort into helping their project leaders succeed. Yeah, if they have different political beliefs, yeah, I'm putting less effort because they're actually working against me, not at work. In this greater good of society, I actually feel like they are working against me. And yeah, the brokering trust, I'm trying to find the notes here. Oh, they're effective strategies. That's what I want to get to. They talked about? Yeah. I really wish we could swear in this podcast because, like, no kidding.
Yeah.
Come on, Edelman. Like, promote a shared identity and culture, remind of what unites us rather than divides us. Literally, these organizations are supporting an administration that is focused on showing what makes everyone different. And then companies are echoing that. You got rid of diversity, inclusion, and belonging efforts that are out there. Like now you're saying, oh no, we need to unite instead of divide. No, we've been dividing each other now for the last couple of years. So yeah, no kidding, that would make things better, but nobody's doing that. So what are the other recommendations that companies are actually going to follow? Build teams that require people with different values. They already said people aren't going to work with people that aren't like them. So you're going to now force people who don't want to work with each other into each other, and that's going to somehow make a better product. I don't know. It just adds to my lack of interest and enthusiasm about the trust barometer. The other part that I want to call out here, and I'll shut up eventually. Everybody likes to point to this thing that like, oh, companies are the most trusted source and journalists aren't, and scientists aren't, and leaders aren't. And people are like propping that up as a good thing. That's a horrible thing. That's a horrible thing. And it's not that companies are trusted more, but they're not trusted. Like this just shows nobody trusts anything. And ultimately, trust is a choice. We are making that choice to trust or not.
I'm with you on the wishing I could swear on that. We'll just go with no kidding because that's easier. But it just smacks of like, here's some simple, effective way, I'm doing the voice again, to improve your workplace. But, you know, no one's going to give you the budget to do that. No one's going to give you the time to do that. And actually, no one's going to really do the work to do that because to your point, you've taken half of that
or invest the budget in that.
Yeah, exactly. So the trust building piece inside organizations is not new. It's been a topic inside organizations from the HR and comms world for over a decade. And all that's happened outside of organizations is things that will erode that have leaked into the organization. And that is why we're now in this insular mindset. And a bit like you, I was disappointed in reading it this year. And I don't know that I read it last year. I keep an eye on it. But I remember the days where we would be poring over it and it'd be like, oh my God, it's come out quick. I need to read it and talk about it. And I just, yeah.
I think the trust here, as you were talking there, I remember probably about, if it was 10 years ago, it might have been 15 years ago, reading this and thinking, man, instead of engagement surveys, companies should be doing trust surveys.
Yes.
And actually finding out who do your employees trust and not trust. That's actually something to focus on. Engagement is this big ambiguous ball out there, but trust speaks very much to the relationship. Do you trust your leaders? Yes or no? All of a sudden, if a company finds out, hey, only 30% of our employees trust our leaders, man, what does that say to the leadership? And what does that say to the board out there?
Yeah.
Or managers? Or what does you find out, hey, people actually do trust the manager. Okay, that's amazing. Like, yes. I haven't seen a company really dig into the trust to figure out where are the gaps and who is actually trusted inside organizations, not layers or titles, but actually individual people.
Yeah, it's because it's very uncomfortable. And I think it's interesting that you bring that together because I've written before, I think you've written before about the fact that disengagement is distrust. And when I was doing my credibility work, I've got of the 8 practices that make you a credible leader. One is trustworthy and another one is integrity. If you don't have integrity, you get distrust. If you are not trustworthy, you get disengagement. So they're all intertwined and integrity and trust go hand in hand. But these are the things you've got to address. If you've got an engagement problem, you've got a trust problem. If you've got a trust problem, you've got an integrity problem. It's all linked to behavior and communication. And we probably need to have a bigger conversation about engagement and what that is.
Well, and just to put a pin in this, trust and integrity are personal. That is, if someone doesn't seem to have integrity, or they don't have trust in people, that is a very personal thing. It could be very harsh conversations to have, but also those things can be improved.
Yeah,
easily.
100%.
Those can be improved.